Hi, this is Julian from Luminatic.com. Today with another episode of the Raw Challenge. A quick description in case you don't know what the Raw Challenge is. The Raw Challenge is kind of a contest or something like that on the Motorcycle Photographers Forum. That's a closed group on Facebook, and the name says it. It's for motorcycle photographers. Anybody can join who is interested in motorcycle photography. Any skill level is welcome. And in the Raw Challenge, you are posting a raw image of a motorcycle, and other photographers are invited to edit the image as they would edit their own image. And the idea behind this is to see how other people would deal with your material, bringing you new ideas, teaching you something, and I am doing screencasts of the editing process. Today's image is from Louis Henmore from Ohio, USA, and you can find him on Instagram. His account is smoked_tires, and also on Facebook, Henmore's Photography Studio. He's got a huge studio, as you can see here. I'm really drooling a little bit. That's a huge white space he got here. And he's producing motorcycle and car images, and today he brought us a Kawasaki ZZR1400. It's a Ninja 1400. It's a huge beast, and 255 kilograms. I don't know how that is in pounds, but a lot. And today I'm going to edit this image, and at first I'm going to critique it, if I may. So this is obviously a studio image, and there are two things I noticed which should have been done a little differently. I think, sorry, I did it wrong. You say something nice first, that's a good critique, and then you say something that could have been done better, and then you close with a positive remark. I did it the German way, blurt out what you don't like. I'm sorry about that. Okay, second try. That's a great bike, and that's a great studio image. So the bike is isolated in a white environment. The reflections are only in such a way that the surrounding area is reflecting, and it's only white. So there are no shadows of people or objects or any imperfections in the walls. So basically everything is white around the bike, and this gives the surface very unique and clear look. So there are no disturbances, and the lines of the bike can be clearly seen. So that's really, really good motorcycle image. So what could have been done better or differently? Let's say differently. There was the German guy again. This is supposed to be a side portrait, and this perspective can't really decide if this is a side view or if this is a 3/4 view. It's not enough to be a 3/4 view, but it's also not enough to be a side view. So the bike should either be really perpendicular to the camera axis or at a 30-45 degree angle. So if I'd have taken this image, I'd have turned it a little. But anyhow, I'm talking really on a high level here, so this is complaining on a high level, that's what I meant. And now let's see what I can do in the edit. The other thing I noticed is that it's not centered, but that's a minor problem that can be fixed easily. As you can see here, the space here between the wheel and the end of the image is smaller than here. And this is a little, should be centered. But as I said, that's a very small problem, and we can fix that easily. Okay, let's go to the development module. If you followed my previous videos, you've noticed that I've now changed the language to English. So that'll be a lot easier for you to understand. So at first I'm doing a virtual copy to show you the before and after. You do that by right-clicking and then create virtual copy. And as explained in another video, this is not creating a physical copy of the image on your hard drive, but it copies the settings. It creates a virtual copy, and just the settings which are applied to the image are stored in the Lightroom database, so that you don't use up too much space. And now you can edit here anything you do and anything you want, and you still have the original image here. But let's work in this virtual copy at first. So the first thing I notice is that the color or the white balance is off. The background is supposed to be white. It's got a yellowish tint, so the white balance is not completely right, and this can be fixed easily. You use the pipette tool here, you click on a white area and bing, that's a little better. Perhaps it's a little bit too much into the blue. 2950, let's remember this value and go a little bit back and forth. Perhaps 2940, it's a little better. It's a little less blue. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so next thing is I'm taking on the highlights to make the white a little wider. It's also okay. You can see on the image that this area got more light than this area. So I'm not completely sure how Louis did the lighting. He posted something on Facebook which lighting setup he has, but I think he needs a little more light above. I know he's got a white fabric above the bike, and usually in a studio you've got the light coming from above to have this even lighting. So either you have the lights above this white fabric and they're shining down, or you have strong lights on the floor and you bounce them against the ceiling, reflecting, so that you have got even and nicely diffused light coming back to the bike. So this area is a little darker, so I think another lamp or something like that in this area would have been okay. Would have been a little bit more fitting. Okay, this is okay. Let's see if I have to do something to the shadows. Well, let's not overdo it. It's okay. Now a little clarity. Oh, there's already something. Let's see if let's not overdo it. Something like this. And as I said, the bike is a little tilted, so you're not the image was not shot perpendicular to the bike. Now let's try something. You've got here the transform area, and you can rotate the image a little, and by that I don't mean rotating it like this. That's not what I mean. But you can rotate through around other axes. And what we want is to rotate the bike a little. You can see this one here can correct the perspective a little. Let's see if if you do it if it's done too much, then you can see you get a nice gummy bear bike that's elastic. That's not what we want. So this is the original, and now let's see if I can tilt it a little. Actually, this tool is usually used if you are perpendicular to if you are at the axis of the bike perpendicular, but the camera is a little off to the left or the right. But it's not, you can't really rotate the bike because there is no information on the pixels. For example, if I rotate a lot, you won't see the front of this of the bike because it hasn't been photographed. Okay, I think this one is okay. Let's go back. It's plus 15. Let's remember that. If we, it's difficult. It's not really the right. Oops. It's not really the right tool to change the perspective. As I said, the bike should have been shot at another angle. I'll go with this one. So the distortion plus 16, okay. The distortion is not that bad. So it doesn't look artificial. Okay. I'm now trying to lighten up this area here because, as I said, it could have used some more light. And I'm doing this by raising the exposure a little, taking my brush and lighting up this area here underneath. By the way, Louis, if you watch this video, what is that? I have no idea what that thing is. There is something like that up here too, and I think that's for luggage, for bags. So if you have a bag that attaches to the bike, because this looks a little lubricated here, this could really be something for the bags. But here underneath the bike, what the heck is this? I don't know. Never seen this. Okay, so I'm lighting up this area a little here because it didn't get that much light. Let's see what happens if we increase this even more. Shadows. No. Okay, yeah. Ah, that's okay. Perhaps a tad here. No, that was too much. Undo. But I think the cockpit could use a small stroke here. A little bit here. A little bit here. Did I? If you are not sure, because I'm not sure if I painted here, there's this bright spot. You can hit O, like overlay, and then it shows, Lightroom shows you which parts of the images you have already painted with the brush tool. And as I noticed, no, this wasn't painted by me. So I'm taking a new brush and I'm darkening it a little, because this is a little disturbing. That's a direct reflection, I think, from one of the lights in the that was used in the studio, and I want to bring this down a little, because this is to make it blend a little more in with the bike. Oh, that's difficult. That was not good. No, that was too much. Okay, try again. So let's take a soft brush and just go a little bit back and forth, and let's see what we get. Yeah, okay. Highlights. Okay, it's a little bit less prominent now. So it looks about fine. The detail work, retouching. The bike is very clean, by the way. That's a good job, Louis. The bike is very clean. You've got just smaller imperfections here. There is a spot. It could also be a scratch, but there is no dust. When shooting in the studio and you're doing really these high quality images, dust is a real pest. So usually you have to de-dust, even if it's perfectly cleaned, you have to de-dust it after a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Then you have to run it over and de-dust it, because dust is just everywhere. But one other thing I forgot to mention, dirty tires. This is something you could have easily avoided. Before, wipe them down with a damp cloth, and this might also be paint from the floor, from rolling it over the floor. But even then, a damp cloth could have helped, because this is really lessening the impact the image has, because it's really that pristine look. It's clean, it's wonderful, that doesn't have any dents or scratches, and then there's the tire. Yeah, okay. Learning process. Okay, now let's see if I can do something here to this area. I'm hitting I to get rid of the EXIF data here. Oh, by the way, EXIF data, 0.6 seconds at f2.8 and 70 millimeters. Okay, 70 millimeters is good. That's a good focal length for a studio image, because there is not so much distortion. It's a slight tele zoom, and 0.6 seconds, that's quite a long exposure time. I suggest you use the tripod, that's what I think, because the image is very sharp. And I think 0.6 is because you don't have that much flash power. So I think you used constant light, or at least partial constant lighting, to illuminate the bike. Otherwise, I don't really know why you should have 0.6 seconds. Usually, if you shoot with flash in the studio, you use like a 400th second or faster, depending on the flash power and effect you have. And but that's not a problem. It's not wrong per se if that's the light you have, constant light or low power flashes, and you need perhaps low power flashes won't do anything to the longer exposure time, but constant light only, because in 0.6 seconds the low power flash can only fire once. Okay, less talking, more editing. Let's see if I can lighten this up a little, because this is quite bright, this corner, this is quite dark, and let's see what I can do. So expose this, and now carefully, without let's see what happens if I enable the profile corrections. Oh, nothing. The profile, it's a D100, okay, D185, a D850. This here, the lens correction tab is, there is a database in the background, and there is all the data of lenses stored, the 7200 f2.8, and the lenses have all a certain profile and a small distortion, and this database can counter this. So somehow it doesn't recognize the lens, so I guess it's a Nikon 72-200. Oh, yeah, there it is. Now let's see what happens. And once you enable this, usually this works automatically. In this case, somehow it didn't, but here it did. And what it did is okay, there's no distortion corrected, but as you can see, the corners are lighted up. So okay, that's good. Perhaps now, so the correction profile is being applied, and the image is a little lighter now. So let's see. Perhaps it's a little too bright now. I don't know. Oh, that's my. Oh, sorry. I'm still in the paintbrush tool. I want to go to the general corrections and see highlights. I did +100. Let's do it like this, and perhaps I've seen here that I didn't paint in this area, so I'm just doing a small stroke here, so that when I'm bringing down the highlights, okay, this is fairly unique, I think. Okay, let's see if there is now too much clarity. A little bit less. Depends on the eye judgment. Okay, another thing, this might also be related to the lighting you have. The background is white and this is a little yellowish. So this is the stainless steel covering of the magnificent Akrapovic exhaust, and this, I don't think this is supposed to be yellowish. So I'm doing a color correction with the brush tool here, tuning it a little to the blue to counter the yellow, and as you can see, yeah, that's better. This part I've painted, and now it looks really like stainless steel, and the rest is yellowish, and now I'm painting the rest. Perhaps this one too. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and I'm doing the same here and here. Yeah, okay, that's good. Funny thing is that only the exhaust system has got this tint, and the rest of the stainless steel parts, like the brake discs here, doesn't have. A brake disc stainless steel? I don't know. It's really a wonderful bike. Wow. Beast. Okay, that's how much I would do in Lightroom, and now I'm heading over to Photoshop. Don't make this video too long. So edit in Adobe Photoshop CS6. This takes a second. Boring. That was out of tune. There we are. Okay. Okay, at first I said I want to fix the bike being off center, and you can do this by I have to orient myself because I switched it to English. Sorry, canvas size. The canvas is the size of the image of the background, and now I want to extend the background a little. I'm doing this by editing the canvas size, and this side here is okay. I want to extend to the right, so the image is now, this symbolizes the source image you have, and then the arrows show in which direction you are extending. So we've got already, it's a big image, and I want to go to the, let's say, we can crop always, let's say 10,000 pixels. And that was too much, but that doesn't matter. And as you see, now I've extended the background and not the image itself. So if I'd have chosen image size here, I would have stretched the image with the same procedure. Okay, and now pro tip. You can now select the background here. Select only the strip without the bike. And now you hit Command C, Command V, and now this included another layer here. with the copy you just made. This is just the empty plain background. And now let's see what happens if we move it. Move it, move it. And as you see, the background is so plain. There's a little, there's a little corner. So, but it's so even that you don't really see a corner between where the two areas meet. So there are no imperfections in the lighting. So in this case, copying it and moving it was okay. And now we do the same with this part here. I think, oops, I moved this one, okay. Oh, what did I do? Oh, now, okay, now I screwed up. Okay, canvas size, okay, sorry, okay, I have to copy again. Copy and edit. Okay, I screwed up and messed up with the history, sorry. Now we've got the layer with the background copy again. And move this here, good. Now I'm going back to the original layer and I'm copying another section. Oh, God. I have to use, select the rectangular selection tool. And now I'm taking this area here. And I think copying won't work this time because there is a gradient here in this area. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you already see it. So if I'm moving, or now it happened. Oh, that worked pretty well. I don't really know if there is a border visible. Let's switch it on and off. No, I don't. There's a slight border here. There's a slight rim here, but it's very subtle. In case you've got you want to, let's do it a little differently because I want to show you another method. So you've copied this area that you want to, okay, let's copy it, enter it. This is now the area I've copied. Let's move it back here. I don't know why it moved. So it's now in the original position. Now the part of the bike above that I copied is now also lying on the same part here. So if I click it on and off, you might see nothing because the very same part of image is now being displayed. And now what I'm doing is transforming it. Content-aware scale is what you want to do. And what this does, it scales the selection and stretches it, but in a way that it doesn't look unnatural. And with a background like this is super easy because it's very even and very uniform, so you don't you are not running in danger of having imperfections in the image, that it looks odd, that you see something has been manipulated. Okay, let's crop it. I want to crop to 3:2. Yep, that's what I want to do. And okay, crop here, and let's see, perhaps that was a little, that could be a little bigger. Let's give that wonderful bike some space. I'm centering it, so this might be, is this centered? I think so. Come on. Yeah, that's okay. Perhaps it could stand a little lower, so it's too centered horizontally, vertically. So I'm doing this again, and now I'm going in a little more with the crop, doing it like a little out. It's now eye judgment. When is this? Yeah, I think like this. Okay. Yeah, that's a little better. So there's, it stands a little lower in the image. That's okay. Good. Now, touch-ups. Another layer. I'm putting it on top and I'm naming it touch-up. I was too lazy to name the other two layers. Touch-up. 24 minutes already. Oh my gosh. And now I'm using the clone tool, which is here, to get rid of minor imperfections. But as I already said, this bike is very clean. There are nearly no imperfections. Really, the very small stuff here, like small dust particles, and that was a very good cleaning job. So not much to do for me here. There are smaller things. This is something I should look after. This is a reflection of something in the standing behind the camera. There is something. This looks like fingerprints. Let's see if I can get rid of this easily. This is pattern here, so I have to be careful not to disturb the pattern. Okay, same here. Yep, good. And a small spot up here. Yep. Good. Then there was some imperfections here, and that's not a problem because zoom, abracadabra, it's gone. Oh, something on the ninja logo. This is now really the nitpicky stuff. Usually when you show this image, you don't show it at this resolution. So most people look at images on the internet on their phone. So the resolution will be much lower. This looks like a dent or a scratch or something. And so even if there are minor imperfections in the image, like these dust particles, actually I wouldn't have to clone them out. They are so small. Once you zoom out, they drown in the sea of pixels. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of this one. Here, that's a little difficult because this area here is curved, and you have to, when you're copying, you get, you see minor imperfections in the way this this curved part of the fairing is. Okay, no, that's too big. Let's clone this away. Cloning takes a little practice, and the more you do it, the better you get, like nearly everything. It's still visible if you zoom out, so that's not good. So I'm trying to fix this like this. I could also copy the part and try to warp it, but I'm too lazy for now. And just because I'm German, I want to do the small things also. Ja, mein Kaiser. That's not dirt, that's an oil screw or something like that. This, and the rest is, it's just very well cleaned. I have to repeat it over and over again. There's a small part, but the rest really looks magnificent. Tires. Ugh. I am so damn lazy, so I'm just showing you some of the specs, of the worst specs, how to clone them away, but I'm not doing everything now, otherwise this video will become too long and too boring, because there is not much of an educational value if you see a guy cloning away dirt specs for half an hour. So this is something, okay. And as the and at the start of the video I said perhaps this is a paint, this is just from the paint on the floor, but I say no, this is really from the tires from outside, some dirt from outside. So this is a lot of work in post-processing to get rid of the most prominent imperfections. Okay. Let's see here. Wow, even this part here is clean as hell. Wow, that's really impressive. You know, I'm cleaning my own bike also a lot, very thoroughly, but not to this level. So, no, I'm too lazy for this one here now. Forgive me. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I wanted to look at. Because that's okay. Let's see. Perhaps I can clone this away too. Oh, is this okay? Okay, now let's delete. If I'm switching the touch-up layer on and off, you see the changes are not radical. You see the grease marks of the fingerprints here, this small thing here, this one here. And this has all been deleted now and removed. And as you see, the dust specks, they are not visible. Okay, the floor could use some cleaning too. So let's see if I can clone something here to get rid of the tire marks. As I don't own a studio like this, I'm hoping to build one in the future, a smaller one, with like 15 by 10 feet or something like that. And the floor, as I learned, is painted with regular wall paint, and you just have to repaint it. There is no paint that is like has a lotus effect or something like that. That can just, oops, that was too much. That needs to wash off. That can be washed off. So after a while, after a few shoots, you have to repaint the floor a little. Okay, last edit here. So there is a smaller thing. Yeah, come on, smaller thing here. Okay. Last round I am sharpening this a little, and same old technique, Command Shift E, then you merge everything into one layer, Command A for selecting everything, Command C copying, then you do the merging, you undo the merging. We want to have still the possibility to change stuff in a non-destructive manner, and I'm inserting by Command V, and this is the sharpening. And now I'm applying a filter, and I want to do the high pass filter. High pass renders the edges and the borders of the machine. And let's see, this could be a little bit too much, but let's try it. And now you have to change the layer blending mode to overlay. That's the word I was looking for in the last videos, overlay. And now just the sharper corners here are overlaid, and this is quite well. I'll give you an example. You see the Ninja logo here, and with the sharpening layer off, everything becomes a little softer. And here it's sharper. The texture in the paint is a little sharper, and the image is overall quite nice, as I want to note. So that's been the raw challenge for today. 33 minutes already. I'm sorry it took a little longer, but I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are interested in motorcycle photography, join the Motorcycle Photographers Forum on Facebook. Answer 3 simple questions about your photography, how long you've been photographing. It's pretty self-explanatory, and we'd like to welcome you. It's a closed group, so if you can post anything. Any skill level is welcome. This is not only for the pros, this is also for the beginners, and the mission statement of the forum is to help you becoming a better motorcycle photographer. That's for it. Thanks and bye. See you soon.